Right, here's a review of the Black & Decker Alligator chainsaw, electric chainsaw. Great for cutting branches like these. It's great because the jaws at the end grab the branch, where a traditional chainsaw, if it was used for instance to cut a small branch like this one, the chainsaw would make the branch waggle all over the place and you wouldn't get a decent cut, and it would take you a lot longer. Because this one grabs it, does it in no time at all, makes very light work of small branches. It can go up to quite large sizes, so just chop up some of these while we're at it. So up to a couple of inches quite easily. All of these logs here have been chopped with the electric chainsaw. Thing to watch, this part of the jaw is very weak. This is actually my second Black & Decker Alligator. This bit broke off on the internal gear part where it attaches to the handle, which meant this bit went all floppy, went all the way back, caught on the chain, bits of metal came off, and it means you can no longer use it to grab branches, which defeats the purpose of this type of electric chainsaw. So be careful with this bit. A lot of branches tend to get stuck down the down this hole here next to the chain, some on the other side and some down here, so make sure those are well cleaned out. That probably puts a lot of strain on the jaw. So when's electric chainsaw useful? Well, for branches, but for the bigger jobs like this tree that I'm starting to chop down here, you really need a proper petrol chainsaw for cutting through the big bits of wood. So you can cut up, these will be done with electric Alligator, so you can cut up quite large pieces of wood. These ones here starts to get a bit difficult when you're going through this sort of size trunk. So I've gone halfway through this one already. Let's just see how far we can get through it. Probably doing it from the other side. Gone halfway through, and what's that, about 8 inches or so. Might well be able to finish it off doing it from the other side, so let's give that a go. Watching out for the jaw again, make sure it doesn't get damaged. Pretty effective, but doesn't really compete with the petrol chainsaw when it comes to cutting down the big tree. And well, I might as well just show you how that goes in a minute. So for something this size, petrol chainsaw is much more suitable. So a lot depends on the sharpness of the actual chain, of course. This is a new loper, so it's quite fast. The chainsaw, the chain's a little bit blunt on it, but we'll just see how the two compare. Chainsaw cut through that. Not fast, not too slow though. Let's see if it's possible to cut through one of these. Pretty fast because this chainsaw is, because the actual saw chain is new. What we've got to be careful of is that we don't get the chainsaw stuck to the bottom of the cut. For these size of branches, it gets a little bit tricky because of the jaws. The jaws aren't actually wide enough to grab that whole thing. Be careful you don't put too much strain on this, of course, as I was saying earlier, to break it. But I think by doing it from two sides, we should be able to cut it off nonetheless. There we go. Just about. A little bit left. There we go. So even something that size can be cut through. One more thing I'd like to touch on, and that's what they call automatic oil feeder, which is actually nothing of the sort. There's nothing automatic about it. It's basically a flap with a hole that feeds down onto the chain, in which you poke your bottle through the hole, give it a squirt every 10 minutes of use. Try not to let go before you pull it out, otherwise it's suck all the oil back in again. And so there's no real sort of storage tank behind it. As I say, it's just a hole that goes down onto the chain, so to be honest you might as well just feed the chain directly. But I normally put some in there anyhow. So it's a bit of a misnomer and against the Trade Description Act to say it's an automatic oil feeder. The other thing that's pretty bad is this stupid bottle, because it's got a very loose end, and the original design has a piece of plastic inside it that when you screw it down blocks the top off, which is fine. But when you unscrew it to release the oil, then press down on it, this closes again, so you can't get the oil out. So, simple solution, unscrew it. I've already done it on this one, but there's a piece of plastic poking out the top, just break it off, chuck it away, put the top back on. It means the top is always open, just means you've got to keep the bottle up the right way, that's all. So then you can do it up tight and push down on it and oil will still come out. Best to keep it well oiled, keeps the blade sharp, can be sharpened, traditional chainsaw sharpener, rotating disc. So that's it. Oh, the other thing I'll just show you is, just to finish off, just show you how quick it is for cutting all these little branches off logs. So use the main petrol chainsaw for chopping the big trunks, but this thing is great for doing the little bits, and it's a lot faster than either manually cutting or a chainsaw. So I'll just show you how. See how quick it is, and see how it grabs the branches so we've got nowhere to go. And you can chop it all up into nice bits of kindling for your fire. So I should have this done in no time at all. Get all these annoying twigs off out the way. Very last thing, watch out for the cable. I chopped through it twice, not this one, but the previous one. Very easy to do when you're moving quickly. Reached out for a twig, cable's in the way, chomps through, pretty easy to repair, but best avoid it if you can. That's what I mean by getting sticks stuck down between the jaws, as you can see now. So when that happens, make sure you clean it out. Pretty safe to use this, because even if you've got one hand still on the trigger, it requires two triggers to operate. So if you've got one hand doing something on the chainsaw, it's never going to be going round. So get all that stuff out. There we are. So a nice little device, even though it does have some weaknesses. Mr. B&D, Black & Decker. You could make some improvements, strengthening this jaw, to make the hinge stronger and give it a proper automatic oil feeder. Certainly something that lasts more than 10 minutes and has a separate container of a reasonable amount of oil, like on a petrol chainsaw. Okay, so here you see what I mean about a lot of wood debris getting stuck in the jaws. Here it's only shavings, so not too difficult to get out, but already the jaws aren't shutting properly. It's useful to carry a little screwdriver. Found one of those small electrical screwdrivers is handy, or the tool for undoing the nuts. You could probably use that as well to scoop out all of the wood debris from inside the unit every now and again, especially down here. Stops the blade from rotating nicely and probably puts a lot of strain on the hinges of that jaw as well. There we go, that's better. So as long as you keep an eye on it, it's a nice little tool. As I say, this is the second one, but even with the broken jaw, I didn't repair it myself because it was in guarantee. I just sent it back and got this new one. It is possible to repair them. I've seen other YouTube videos saying it's the bolt and its attachment onto this light alloy that's the problem. So it would be possible to take it apart and fix it. So even with that slight weakness, still think it's a great tool. And not too expensive, about £80. So well worth it for all these small twigs that take a long time and are not only more difficult to remove with a chainsaw, a normal chainsaw that is, but a lot noisier, especially with the petrol one. And well, you can see the amount that I've cut through with the electric.
So in summary, a pretty handy tool. Thanks for watching.